Self-reproach, not despair. Geronda. Is it easy to be aware of the depth of our sinfulness from the start? Out of love, God does not allow us to become fully aware of our sinfulness from the start of our spiritual life, to prevent us from being discouraged. There are souls with philorimo and sensitivity who would not be able to endure this and would suffer terribly. So God blurs our vision and we do not see the magnitude of our sinfulness. For example, we may have stains on our sleeves, yet we take them for flowers. But as we gradually progress in our struggle, God allows us to begin seeing our faults, and at the same time gives us the strength to overcome and correct them. Trying to do orally refined spiritual work can be harmful when there is not sufficient experience. The same thing can happen with our awareness of God's benefits. If man were to see the benefits of God at the beginning of his spiritual life, he would suffer a spiritual hemorrhage. When someone sees the benefits of God and then becomes aware of his own ingratitude, he can fall to pieces. Geronda. I do not see my faults and my heart is like a rock. Sometimes God guards us from seeing our faults and allows our heart to be like a rock in order to prevent the devil from plunging us into despair. A person must consider his sinfulness with discernment. Repentance that involves anxiety and despair is not from God. The little devil has put his tail into the mix. One must be very careful because the devil can catch him while in repentance and then hurl him into grief and disappointment, in order to break him mentally and physically, rendering him useless. You see, the devil brings about the other debilitating contrition, full of anxiety, in order to break his spirit. For example, the devil will make someone think, "You are so very sinful, you will not be saved." He pretends to be concerned about someone's soul, but he only creates anxiety and despair. But I won't allow the devil to do as he wishes. When the devil tries to convince you by saying you are a sinner, you should tell him, "What's it to you? I'll admit I am a sinner when I want to, not when you want me to." Geronda. What's the cause of the melancholy that often comes to the soul? Melancholy and oppression of the soul is usually a result of the pangs of a sensitive conscience. Then a person needs to confess and be helped by his spiritual father. For if the person is sensitive, the mistake may actually be a minor one, but the enemy devil magnifies it as if under a microscope in order to bring about despair and render his victim useless. For example, the devil may lead someone into thinking that he has gravely hurt other people, that they are in great distress because of him, thus causing him to worry to an unbearable degree. Now, if the devil is so concerned about people, why doesn't he disturb and awaken the conscience of someone insensitive? But in fact, the devil makes the insensitive person consider a very serious mistake to be insignificant, and thus prevent him from repentance. Man must come to know himself as he really is, and not as our enemy the devil presents him, for he only cares about harming us. Man must never despair as long as he repents, because his sins are significantly lesser than those of the devil. He has extenuating circumstances, for he was created out of the dust of the earth, and is therefore drawn to it. That is why he so easily and carelessly slipped and sullied himself. In order to carry out the proper struggle, we must turn the steering wheel opposite to the devil's direction. If he whispers that we are something, we should then cultivate self-reproach. If he whispers that we are nothing, we should tell him, "God will have mercy on me." If man acts in this simple way, with trust and hope in God, his life will have repentance and humility, and he is able to achieve spiritual heights. In other words, Geronda, does this mean that self-reproach doesn't help in our spiritual struggle? It does help, but discernment is required. For example, one can say to himself, "You are foolish." Now this must be said with true humility in order to mock the devil, but it should be said at the same time with courage, and not with misery. We seek self-reproach, not despair. It is a sign of spiritual maturity to believe, to understand, that I have not done anything significant and to be disappointed with myself, in the good sense of the word. I should feel that, no matter what I have done and achieved, I am only adding up zeros and that I need to continue my struggle with trust in God. And then, when the benevolent God sees the zeros of my good intention, He will take pity on me and will add the number 1 in front of my zeros, giving them value and making me spiritually rich. A good spiritual state lies hidden within the humble condition of self-disappointment.